And when it was happening to me, especially when I was younger, you don't think about it. You're like, oh, whatever. But it's like, they're not hearing me. They're not hearing me. And I went to different doctors because I knew, something's not right with you.
Yeah.
And no one was really hearing me. And it's sad. And I got a really good doctor later in life,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, and I told him, I was like, oh, I wish I would have known you.
When I was.
It was so good. And everything. And I just want to cry because I remember he was like, giving me progesterone and certain things was happening. And he said, I have a good womb, but I have these fibroids. So if you want to carry, I just suggest, getting rid of the fibroids because you can have miscarriages or whatever the case may be. So it's like, okay. And I always felt I needed to get rid of them. I always felt, but it was nobody, no one was saying anything.
And also, I think as rampant as it is in our community for many women to have them,
yeah,
the fact that there's not as much conversation around it is actually wrong. Because like so many people, because I didn't find out that I had them until I was pregnant. Well, until I was pregnant the first time, because the first pregnancy ended in miscarriage. And so I found out while I was pregnant that I had fibroids. Mm-hmm. And so they were like, oh, they're small, they're this, and it's probably not an issue. But when you're finding out about it and you don't know, like there's not a lot of resources or information surrounding, because like it's literally during the ultrasound when they're telling me that the pregnancy is not viable, they said, okay, yeah, and you have these fibroids. And I think I have like 3.
And no one ever saw that beforehand.
And
no one ever said anything beforehand.
But literally, that's been the extent of the conversation, is that every time I have an ultrasound or whatever, like when I was having the issues before, because I thought that I was pregnant. Mm-hmm. And I went and they were like, oh no, because I was like, oh, my period didn't come. And they were like, oh yeah, you're an ovarian failure. I was like, excuse me?
Yeah.
Do what now? But even though all my ultrasound, my mammogram, everything came back normal. And the ultrasound tech actually said, if they didn't tell us this is what they were looking for, there's no indication here that says that. And so at each turn, no one has said you need to address the fibroids, just acknowledge that they're there. And
no one says, no one does.
And so it doesn't make you nervous or whatever about it. But I remember when I found out I was gonna miscarry, and I was talking to you on the phone, and I was like, hey, I remember you and I had talked about fibroids. And you were like, yeah, this and this. And you were like, yeah, it can cause you to have a miscarriage. And then I just boo-hoo cried.
I know. I was like, oh my God. I didn't know. Because you being you said, like, hey, and I'm like, oh yeah. And because that's the reason why my doctor said, if I want to carry, because I have these fibroids, and mine will go up in size. It would be weird. So he said, just, I suggest to get rid of them because it can lead to miscarriages.
Yeah.
And I said that to you, and it was like,
you told me more about it than any medical professional did.
Yeah. And it's sad. And it's so many, and not to say you have to go through surgery, because finding out early and you figuring out, because you could shrink them through changing your diet, herbs, you can do it that way. And I kind of wish I did, because my aunt did it that way. Mm-hmm. She shrunk hers by changing her whole diet and taking certain herbs and everything. And
I'm like, what did she shift from what to what? Like before,
eating healthier, cleaner. It was more because she still would eat. It's not like she became a vegetarian. She didn't become a vegetarian. Some people do. They like take meat out. But she ate cleaner and took certain herbs and everything and teas, and also your mind is very strong. So you visualize health, you visualize no fibroids, cleaning. You can heal yourself. But you have to be persistent with it, of positive thinking. So it was a lot that she did with that work, and it actually shrank. So she didn't have any surgery with her. My mom also has fibroids. She just let it go through and then went through menopause and this nothing. Me, I said, I want to see if I can carry. That's the reason why I said, let me go this way. So it depends on what you want to do and where you are in your life of what you want to do. And but when I had the surgery to have the fibroids taken out, my period completely, like it didn't even, the whole being irregular, it's just like, oh, nope.
But that was the crazy thing.
Premenopause, you're there. I'm like, what?
And that's what I was about to say. That's the crazy part, is like the I was not prepared to hear what they had to say, because I was just like, you know, I went to the doctor because I was
when you told me, what did I say? I said, I said, doctor can't tell you nothing. I said, you are fine. I said, get your herbs. And that's why I started sending you stuff. I said, take the herbs, take this. Because I said, you're good. No, they're not going to do this to you. Because they did it to me. They're like, oh, yeah, you're done. Then my doctor said, yeah, you're done. And I said, no. And then when your period did come, I was like.
Because like literally, I missed 2 periods.
Yeah.
And then it came back. And I was like, what was the point of like, and I think part of it is because we need to learn how to advocate. Because it's like, they said that, and I was like, wow, that's crazy.
This one should take it.
Like, I don't even take it. So when it came back, I was just confused. Like, well, wait a minute.
Yeah, so what
are you doing here?
That's the same thing. When I was going through it, they were like, okay, you have to lose weight. That was the thing. Oh, you're overweight. Lose weight. That's what they did. It's okay. I lost weight. I did the whole beach body. He got me in I looked like I was in high school. Half of me.
Same. Leandro and Shanti.
Half of me. Right here. I was like sitting here like talking to me like this.
Like this whole boob was heavier than both of them together.
So lost the weight, healthy, whatever. And this was like, what was that, like 8 years ago or whatever?
Gosh, has it been 8 years?
8 or 9 years. Yeah, 8 or 9 years. And period came for a little bit because it shocked my body, because my body did get shocked. And then the same thing happened. So I was like, so what are you telling? So it's not that. It's not the losing of the weight.
So another thing is,
at least for me, at that point, it was. Not saying you can't, but at least something was happening. Something else was happening with me.
That's why I was having a conversation with a pre-med student, and that was in a biology class I was taking. And it was just amazing that like around the time that all that was happening, I was sitting at a table with a group of women, and it was crazy how on point and on time the conversation was. And like one of the women gave me a referral, and we were sitting talking afterwards, and you know, she said we prayed, we kikied, we just had a really good healthy conversation, and I felt better afterwards. And I was telling her that in the research that I was doing after the diagnosis, it was saying that depression can mimic menopause in your body. Sorry.
And you know I've been depressed. You know I suffered from heavy depression.
And I think at the time, yeah, this is what we get for turning on the camera and just talking about.
I suffered from heavy depression, so it's interesting.
But at the time, whenever it happened, a couple of things had happened that were like really tough, that were like really like overwhelming and frustrating and disappointing, and just like, I don't know, here to there. And so, and sometimes like it was pre-counseling, and so it's like you don't know what to do with those emotions, because you don't understand that the way you've learned to cope with them normally is not healthy.
No,
it's not. It's not moving you towards healing. It's just a routine of, this is what's working for me, even if it's not working for me, this is what I'm going to keep doing.
Yeah.
And so, and then like the confirmation of that is when I got into counseling about how much stress and like what you're going through emotionally can actually physically impact your body. And so it shifted my understanding of what I needed to do and how I needed to show up for me in order for, and and like I said, and she keeps coming to hang out with me like this. As soon as I got to quarantine and I'm all relaxed, chilling, I'm going to cut up and I'm going to be here by myself for a couple weeks. Well, I didn't know it was a couple weeks in, but it just kept getting extended. But as soon as I got comfortable, she was like, oh, hey girl, we're in quarantine together.
Exactly. So it's
like nobody invited you.
When you told me, I was like, no, devil, this ain't happening to you. I did. I got real. No, you're going to do. No.
I appreciated it because it was just like a consistent reminder that, listen.
Because it was horrible. Even, and then when my period completely stopped, it was so funny. I was seeing a doctor in Brooklyn, and she was helping me with period. And she told me, she said, do you want to freeze your eggs? I was like, no, I'll be okay. Something's gonna happen. I'm gonna meet the right man. It's gonna happen, and I'll be like, no, I'm not gonna need to do that. So when she was giving me progesterone, and then when my period just didn't come, it was like, okay, it's not coming. You're giving me this, and it's still not. I'm taking this, and it's still not, because it was coming, and then it just stopped. And I had the conversation with her. So she was like, well, you're in premenopause. And at this point, there's nothing that we could really do. I said, so if I want to have a baby, what's going to happen? She said, maybe egg donor or something like. I said, egg donor. So that means I can't. She said, no. Like, in other words, I have no more eggs. Like, they just ran away from me.
Baby, you don't know.
She said, no, I don't want to be here, and they're gone. I said, what? And I guess I'd never heard it, because in my mind, it's like, I don't know why my period is irregular. No one's really telling me something's going to happen and it's going to stop. It's going to come. I don't know. But when she said that, I just busted out crying. I was just like, what? And she's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And because I wasn't saying, oh, I want to freeze my eggs, I want to do this, because in my mind, it's like, it's going to happen.
I got time.
I'm going to have a baby. It's going to happen. I don't know, but it's just going to happen. I'm not going to have to do all the other stuff.
But here's the thing about the freezing the eggs. So I read an article, but that's what I was about to say. I read an article and it said like there's a 5% chance that the process
done IVFs like crazy and all that, and that still doesn't even happen for them. You just don't know.
Yeah.
You just don't know. And
because a lot of medicine is a crapshoot. Because
exactly. Then the next thing they told me I had the option to do was, remember I told you about, and he was gun-ho. I was like, this is a freak doctor. This is crazy. Embryo donation. And I said, yeah, you'll be a perfect candidate. Oh, your womb looks good. And I was just like,
but like in like here, because that's been a few years. But would you consider that at this point?
Yeah, I know.
I was about to say, you're such a Virgo. We've had this conversation a million times that you're like, okay, wait. So you're telling me I'm going to be carrying around some stranger's sperm and some stranger's egg, their embryo together, and I can't like vet them and evaluate and make sure and this and this. And
the funny thing is, he was so gung-ho. Like, he was like at me. Gave me the paperwork. It's called Genesis. It's a whole big thing. I still have it. I have all the paperwork. When I found the doctor that helped me with the whole thing of getting rid of my fibroids because I have a good womb or whatever, and his thing was, and I told him about the embryo donation. He was like, more than likely, they use the farms it comes from. They deal very religious. And they want to deal with married couples, people who are married. And I said, but this was a Jewish doctor telling me this, to do this, another Jewish, I don't know what, but he said, you have to go through, it's not, I can't just walk in there and go, okay, give me, give me some embryo.
I'll take
they're gonna go
a girl and a boy. I want them to look like.
That's what I have to go through the protocol, you know. So he said, and he said it's so interesting that he kept on pushing that on you because it's not like
it's not
I'm
easy.
gonna get an embryo. So his suggestion was, he said because I had a good womb to have egg donation. So that means if I get married with someone, it could be his sperm.
If that's what you want.
If I want. Stop it. And then an egg donation. And in an egg donation, it's like a dating app. I look on there. It's expensive. I have to order it. I have to pay subscription. Same thing. And I look for a little girl that look like me. She's 20 something. Her background, this, that, and the other. We kind of look alike.
So here's the question about that is how often do we kind of look alike?
I don't know. But this is what, that would have been the process if I go egg donation way. It's still a cost. So you still have to pay for.
And there's no guarantee that the pregnancy.
Still no guarantee. Still no guarantee. So that's my thing with it too. And I'm like, So I kind of just like left everything alone with that. And I've been working with Hattie with the yoni steams. My period has not come down yet, but I feel all the cramps like it does monthly. Also talking about Black-owned businesses, I've been working with, I don't want to mess up the name of pronouncing it, Matea Saba, Sister Saba.
Oh, yes, the beads, the waist beads.
On Instagram, look her up. She's phenomenal. And her thing is the intent that she puts into the waist beads. Not saying that waist beads going to make you have a baby or whatever the case may be, but it's intentional what we do to ourselves. Again, we can heal ourselves. And I still feel it.
But that's what I told you when I went into counseling. Like my counselor was literally explaining that not enough attention is paid on how like stress and mental health affects our physical bodies. Like when we're not processing trauma, how that affects us physically. I'm sorry.
What did you say? I'm sorry.
I was talking about processing trauma and
yes, it does, and it I know, right? And it does. It stops periods. It high blood pressure. It all that happens with stress and outside factors. So if you cleanse that all from you. You're proof.
Yeah,
you're proof.
That's what, like, I think one of the things that I appreciated the most about, like, whenever I was like, wow, like, my kid is only this age, so if you're telling me I'm in full-fledged, not peri, not whatever, like, it's a wrap for me, I was like, it just tells you how much of a miracle this little person is. Mm-hmm. And, like, how dope she is, because it's like, wow, like, they're literally saying I shouldn't have small person.
Yeah.
And because I, experienced loss before I had her, like, and, I'm a good and grown person and had never been pregnant.
Look how dark it's getting here.
Yeah.
So let me get a light. Hold on, I'm gonna get a little light going. We still here. So yeah, so I don't know. So to say for me to do that again of the egg donation, I mean, I think about it, but something is just telling me, ooh.
Nice warm light situation.
Warm light, put it this way. Something is just telling me that either it's gonna happen naturally for me, or possible a child can come into my life a different way.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
And you're open to whatever way is the way.
So, yeah, because it's so much to go through that whole egg donation or embryo donation and it doesn't work. IVF, all those, I've heard,
That's what my mother asked me today. She was like, I think you should have another kid. And I was like,
your mother asked you that?
Yeah,
or told
I think you should have another kid. So she told me, but she asked me. She told me, and then she asked me would I be opposed. I'd like to schedule an appointment for a grandbaby.
Of saying you should have another kid. Why?
Well, she was just because after she picked up AJ from school, and there was another little boy, and they were playing after school. And my mom asked the woman, "Is your baby an only child too?" She's an only child. And she was like, "Yeah." And she was like, she wishes she had another one, because he's a year older than AJ, because she said, you have to play with them all the time when you don't have any other kids. Mm-hmm. Because when you have another kid, they play with each other. And so my mom was saying, would you do like IVF and all that stuff? And I was like, huh?
I mean, there are people who it works. I'm not saying it doesn't work. I just don't want to go down that route.
No, I'm just saying for me, I was like, and I can't imagine me being like, all right, I'm gonna put this shot.
However, you have to take a shot is you.
No, but I'm just saying, if I can't do the shot,
he has to do it for you.
He has to do it, and I don't think.
Yeah, and it does so much to you. I mean, like I said though, but there's some wonderful stories of people who have done it and beautiful, healthy babies. And if it works for them, if that's the path that you're supposed to be on, okay.
Yeah. But I'm like, I at least, because I think I think you have to try for a certain amount of time, actively be trying to have a baby for a certain amount of time before they will let you do those things. Yeah. And I was like, we're not actively.
Yeah. Do we know any gynecologists or anybody in that field? Or someone like that?
I can reach out to the woman that was the pre-med.
And
I think she worked in an office.
Okay, so we should have an episode with talking about situations like that. You know?
And our network. Somebody knows somebody.
Somebody knows somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody.
Who knows somebody who knows somebody. All right. Yes, I'm gonna go eat. I should have ate with you because it's brunch break, but I ain't do it.
It's getting dark. It's not brunch break. It's getting nighttime.
I'm like, I didn't eat lunch because I was running around doing stuff, and I'm like, did I eat today?
Yeah, I ate before because I knew I would be drinking.
Yes.
So I ate before, but I do need
something. I'm still with my alkaline vodka.
Yes, yeah, alkaline. Is that the other one, or is that core?
No, this is just regular, like, store brand. It's not his fancy water. Because I actually can tell the difference in his fancy alkaline water.
It tastes different.
It actually tastes different. But this one I actually still like, though.
What's the name of that one?
Oh, girl, they're not paying us. I'm not telling you.
Oh.
If they would like to send a check, no. That's
true. Okay. When we get off, you text me.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Oh, look, I'll have some for you next weekend. You text me.
I'll be in the A.
Yeah. Well, brunch breakers, we thought this was going to be a little snippet episode where you got funny, flashbacks and stuff, but it's probably going to be long enough that we're not going to be able to add the other stuff that is other silliness. So you're welcome.
Yes. And we will see you soon.
Yeah, and feel free to comment below.
Comment and
I said feel free to comment below because we'll actively engage and cut up with y'all and hug on you and whatever, because it's real out here. Part of the reason we're here is to make space for the rest of us.
That's true. So you have a wonderful, wonderful day, breakers. Bye bye.
I gotta, because it's too much happening here. Trying to hug myself. I'm like up here like a genie.
Bye bye.
Okay, love you, lady. Bye.
Love you.